Hi everyone. Hope things are going well. Um, Solving right triangles is a little bit, it's not that bad of a problem solving strategy, but it's a way to kind of see what we're doing. So when we have a right triangle, remember, a right triangle is identified by this. So remember that this right here is 90 degrees. That means you are dealing with a right triangle. So that's 90. Remember that a triangle has 180 degrees. So all the angles that add up into a triangle are equal to 180. So if this is 90, we have 180 minus 90 is always going to be 90. So we have a 90-degree triangle. So in order to do this, we need to make sure we have a 90-degree angle. Now, this 90-degree angle could be like this, could be like this, or it could be just like this. Now, let's don't get that thrown off. But what you need to understand is a few things. So, one, we have a 90-degree angle. A, B, C. In geometry, so if you were taking a geometry class, you would see like A, B, C, or triangle A, B, C. In geometry, this part right there would be the angle. Oops. This would be the angle. Okay, that's just basic geometry. But if you haven't remembered geometry, we're going to move on. So when I draw a triangle, so a right triangle, so let's go ahead and draw a right triangle. And make sure it looks like a right triangle too. Okay, that's 90 degrees. So if this is A, maybe this side is B, and this is C. So A, B, C. It's kind of similar to this one, but I want you to see this one better because this one's a little bit more on the point. So if you look at this point, if you look at this here, A, this big letter A, I want you to shoot straight across. I want you to shoot straight across. This is like little a. If you take this side and shoot straight across, this is little b. If you take big C and shoot straight across, that's little c. So I want you to get used to this. So let's redo this again. So kind of doing this. And here's A, here's B, here's C. Okay, so you kind of see the picture of this. Now let's add some numbers here. So let's say that we wanted to add, if this is 90, we want to add maybe this angle could be, let's say, 36 degrees. And let's say this side, I'm just kind of making up numbers here. Let's say this is 4. What your mission is that I want to find this side, I want to find this side, and I want to find, let's say, that angle. By the way, that little fish, it stands for alpha. It's a Greek letter. It just means angle. So on that point, let's go ahead and try to solve everything we can. So we know this angle, we really know that angle because it's a 90 degrees, but we know this side, we don't know this side and this side. So we want to solve everything. So our goal is to solve everything, everything of the triangle. All right, that's our goal, solve everything. So why don't we go through this and see how this is going. So on to this. Let's see how we're going to do. All right, so we're solving everything in this triangle. So why don't we do this? Let's start here. So let's start. Maybe we should start with the alpha. Do you see why? Do you see why? Because I have two angles given. Do you see them? I have two angles given, 36 and 90. So remember that if I go 36 degrees plus 90 degrees plus alpha, what does that equal? All the angles in a triangle equal to 180 degrees, right? So we're just going to say, okay, I have this one, I have this one. I don't know what this one is. I don't know what that one is, but I'm going to set them equal to 180. As long as you have two known, so remember, these right here are known. As long as those are known, I have an unknown. I want to solve for that unknown. So I'm just going to take a calculator. So take a calculator. You should have one of these two. Hope you can see this. If you can't, let's do this here. So we're going to go ahead and solve this here. So we're going to go 36 plus 90, which is 126. So this is 126 degrees plus alpha 180. Treat this like an algebra problem. Subtract, subtract, and I'm going to go 180 minus 126. And that gives me an alpha of 154 degrees. So now I have this angle of the triangle. So I'm going to go ahead and redraw this now because that's what we have. Or maybe we should do this. Let me do this instead because this is in our way, okay? So kind of do that. And this is how it's going to go. All right, so now what? Well, let's take our triangle, which is there. And now let's go ahead and find this A and C, or A and C. We know all the angles. Let's find A and C. Well, remember, if you look at it, I'm going to kind of redraw it here because I think this will be a lot easier to see. So this is A, this is C, this is 4, oops, this is 36, and this is, believe it or not, 54 degrees. So going from there, we have everything known in here. All right, we got 54, 36, 90. If you add those two together, if you add all those together, you should get 180 degrees. Now, we need to find A and C. So how do you do this? Well, in trigonometry, you know soh-cah-toa. Soh-cah-toa. Okay, so let's go ahead and use some angles. And I'm going to use a different color because it really does help. Okay. So, oops, I'll throw things at you. So here we go. I'm going to use what one? Well, I'm going to use this angle. Why am I going to use this angle? Because it's a known angle. And I'm going to go opposite over adjacent. So opposite over adjacent. Why am I using that? Because I need to know three things. Well, I need to know two things for three equations, or three parts of the equation. So opposite over adjacent. So here we go. We're going to use sine. So it's going to be opposite over adjacent is tangent. Make sure we get the right thing here. So you have to be careful about this because remember, this is opposite, this is adjacent, this is the hypotenuse. Make sure you understand that. So we're going to use tangent. Here we go. So we're going to go tan of 36 degrees is equal to opposite. We don't know what that is to what something that we do know. Do you see as that you have three things here and you have two things known? You see you have three things here, but you have two things. That's what you're looking for. You need at least two things for a three-part solution, a three-part problem. Well, now you just apply a little bit of cross multiplying. So if you want to, you can either do this kind of fast, but that's usually over 1 because that is just a number in your calculator. That's just an angle measurement or a decimal. So that's just a number. So you're just going to just kind of cross multiply because this is just a number over 1. Anything to be written over 1. So we're going to cross over. So we're going to cross like this. And we're going to say, well, that's just a times 1, which is just a. So that's just a. Equals, well, we're going to cross this. And we're going to go 4 tan of 36 degrees. 36 degrees. So then this is just a number. This is just a. This is all calculator. So take your calculator. I have one here at home. And I'm going to go 4. On your calculator, you should have all this too. You can find this on your phone too, by the way. And I'm just going to go to that. And I'm going to put in 36. And I'm going to hit that. Okay, just like that. Now, I just put 4, 10, 36. That is going to equal to about, let's just go ahead and round up to 3. So we're going to round this up to 3. The reason we're rounding up to 3 just to make the numbers a little easier for us. Okay, so off of that, that means that this side should be 3. Believe it or not, that's 3. So we found what side A. Okay, so now we found these two things. We still need to find the hypotenuse, which is C. Okay, there is 2 ways you can do this now. So I'm going to give you both. So I'm going to kind of just draw a line and draw like 2 little things here. There's 2 ways. The first way, remember you're dealing with a right triangle. So I'm hoping that you remember the Pythagorean theorem. The Pythagorean theorem says if I have a squared equals c squared, a squared plus b squared equals c squared of a right triangle, and as long as I have 2 things known, I can find the third. So let's just go ahead and fill this in. So this is going to be, so A is already 4, yeah. So remember, this is like the alternate, so we have to be very careful about this. Remember, it doesn't matter what these are because we found all of them. We found both of them. So we can actually just go ahead and go, okay, 3 squared, 4 squared. We don't know what C is. We're trying to find C, so we're just going to leave C like that, right? Because it doesn't matter what these are as long as they're equal to the hypotenuse, which is C. So taking this, you have 9, you have 16, you have C squared. 9 plus 16 is 25. C squared, take the square root of both sides. C is 5. So there you go. Now you found C, which is 5. Maybe that you're trying to do this and you don't remember the Pythagorean theorem. So what you're going to do is use soh-cah-toa. Well, let's see. I want to solve for this. So let's figure this out. I can't use tangent because isn't tangent opposite over adjacent? Well, opposite over adjacent or opposite over adjacent, you can't use those. So tangents out. But what I can do is use one of those. Okay, any one you want, because as long as you have one of them have the hypotenuse, you're fine. So I don't know, I'm just going to pick sine. Okay, so sine is going to be sine of 36 is equal to opposite, which is, remember what A is? A is 3. So that over H, which is the hypotenuse. Okay, so now you have this. Okay, do you remember what to do here? It's the same procedure, but look at the fraction. Do you see the fraction? Do you see how this is kind of flipped around a little bit? If you don't see that, look again. This is flipped. So what we're going to do is we're going to still do the cross multiplying. But here we go. So we're going to do the cross multiply. So remember, this is just a number over 1. So if you cross multiply, that's 3 equals cross multiply, that's 36. Now, do you remember in algebra, we have to solve for H. Remember, this is just a number. So you're going to take this and you're going to go sine of 36 over sine of 36. And you're just going to cross this out. So h is just going to be that number. So in your calculator, you're going to take your calculator. Let's see if we get the same thing. I hopefully it will work. So 3 divided by, this should be in your calculator. We're going to hit sine 36. Okay, so sine divided 36. Hit enter. Look at that. Look at that. And you're probably thinking, why is our answer a little bit off? The reason it is off is because this right here is kind of like a decimal number. And here's why. If you hit the sign of 36, just 36, and hit equals, do you see what happens? See how that's like a decimal? That's the reason that this will be a little bit off. So you can say that these are the same. You can say if you're going to round up. But like I said, it's up to you, but at least you're in ballpark. You're just, this is just a ratio between the lengths of a right triangle. Remember, sine and cosine and tangent, these are just ratios. They're proportions. And that's all it is. And that's why it kind of gives you an approximation. And that's kind of what's going on with these. So I'm hoping that worked a little bit. Remember, you gotta not forget what you learned and apply what you have. So if you're in a predicament, if you start with this and you have this here to kind of go off on, think about what you have to do first. So you might want to say, well, I have an angle, and I have an unknown. Well, I know from geometry that 180 degrees is the whole thing, and I have two pieces. I find the third piece. Maybe that works. Do soh-cah-toa, sine, cosine, tangent, and just kind of go from there. And if you're still struggling with this, I mean, keep trying, and I will help you out if you need it. I will get some more videos for you. All right. So hopefully that worked, and I will see you when I see you.